Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel for another video. First off, I want to apologize for how I sound. I still have some sort of like cold or allergies that I'm getting over, and it's kind of affecting me in recording videos. But I wanted to get this video out because I asked a question on my Facebook page about what are your biggest makeup struggles, and I got a few responses, mostly from my friends, but a few responses saying that they needed help selecting the right foundation shade. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my thoughts, little tips and tricks that I use, so that way you can make sure you have the right foundation colors. So before we get into the video, I do want to put out a few disclaimers. The very first one being, I am not a professional makeup artist. I have no background in professional makeup, artistry, or anything. I consider myself a makeup enthusiast. I love learning about makeup. I love applying makeup. I just love playing in makeup in general, and I've been doing it for a while now. So if you're looking for a professional experience or opinion, I can't give you that, but I can give you the perspective from a regular girl that likes to go out and find products that work for me and my lifestyle. So the very first thing is that I'm not a professional, okay? So take my advice with a grain of salt. I can give you opinions because I have experience working with certain products, but this is not the end all be all. I don't know everything about makeup, okay? Second disclaimer is, I really hate to say it and be the bearer of bad news, but I really feel that you cannot find a foundation that is going to match you exactly. There's so many different factors that play into choosing like the right foundation for your skin. I feel like your skin color, texture, type is so unique to you. It's so special, and it took so much time to create that beautiful complexion you have that you're not going to be able to bottle that, okay? So nothing man-made is going to match 100%, but there are things that can help you navigate through the beauty world and find products that work for your skin type and texture and color. So if this video may be able to help you, then I want you to stay tuned for my 3 relatively easy steps to finding your right foundation. So I've written down a few notes to kind of help guide my video. So if I'm looking down, it's because I'm just trying to reference my notes for where to go with this conversation. So we're going to delve right into step 1, or guideline 1, and that is determining your undertone. This, I feel like, is the most important thing when it comes to choosing the right foundation, okay? You need to know whether you're warm, cool, or neutral. There are tons of tricks, tons of tips around the internet to learn what your undertone is, but I'm going to list just a few in the video to tell you exactly how you can determine what is your undertone. So first off, the definition of undertone is that underlying pigment underneath the skin, okay? So I have a color that naturally shines through my skin color. So usually that's compiled of your primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, okay? And then you kind of go into further detail with adding black, white, and gray into the color theory, but we're not going there. We're just talking about the very, very basics. If you're a warm undertone, they say, experts say, you look best in ivory, cream, or off-white, okay? Warm undertones are generally golden, yellow, or sometimes peachy, okay? You tend to look better in gold jewelry. And if you use the forearm trick, where you look at the veins on your forearm, your veins will look green through your skin, okay? That is because if we talk about anatomy and physiology, which we don't need to go there, your vein is blue typically. If your vein from your skin looks green, you likely have a yellow cast or a yellow undertone, which makes you warm, okay? Warm, yellow, golden. Just remember those terms. If you have a cool undertone, that means your veins, when you look at your forearms, will appear to be purple, okay? And that is likely because you have a red tint to your skin, either a red, blue, or pink tint to your skin. So the red and blue will appear to be purple on your forearm, okay? These people tend to look best in white, like icy white, pure white. You gravitate towards silver, jewelry, and jewel tones, okay? So that is a cool undertone. Cool undertones means that the pigment, the underlying pigment, is going to be pink, red, or blue, okay? Now, neutral is, I feel like, a little tricky. but I feel like it's the easiest to understand. You have a combination of both, okay? You look good in silver, you look good in gold, you have a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, a little bit of green, a little bit of all of it, okay? So sometimes I feel like olive can fall under this category, but again, I'm not a makeup professional. I am just a makeup enthusiast, and that is just my opinion, okay? So now that we've kind of talked about undertone and determining your undertone, I'm going to use myself as an example because I'm here. My skin appears to be very golden, very yellow, okay? So I identify mostly with warm undertoned foundation. And for reference, I'm going to leave my shade references down in the description box. So if you're interested in knowing what kind of colors that I typically pick up, I will leave those down below. So make sure you check those out. Now that we've covered undertone, we're gonna move on to surface tone. And surface tone is exactly what it sounds like. It is the color on the surface. So I consider this the actual color of your complexion. So that is like your fair, your light, your medium, your tan, your dark, your deep, your rich, all of those things that you see listed on like foundation shades. This is what I mean when I say surface tone. Myself, I tend to fall on the deeper end of the spectrum. I'm in the dark, deep, rich range. And depending on what company you choose your foundation from, because there are so many to choose from these days, everybody's going to be just a little bit different. Everybody's going to have a little bit of variation. So know what your surface tone is. There's factors to surface tone also, because there's things like hyperpigmentation. Some people suffer from rosacea. There's acne scarring. Like there's so many different factors that determine your surface tone, but your foundation is meant to even out the skin complexion. So it's going to give you one color. And I feel like the best way to choose that color is basically to just know where you fall on the spectrum from light to dark, okay? And if you're in the drugstore, if you're in a retail store like Sephora or Ulta, you're just going to have to look at pictures. You're going to have to swatch where you can to kind of figure out where you fall on the spectrum. And other than knowing whether you're light or dark, to me, there's not much else to say about surface tone, because you're going to go for the one color that you feel like most of your face is, or wherever you shade match or swatch match, that's what you're going to go for when you picking out your color. The next and final category that I use to select foundations is skin type. And skin type has 3 categories of itself. You can have oily skin, you can have dry skin, or you can have combination skin. I mean, your skin is oily if you naturally produce a lot of oils. I mean, if you have to blot, if you have to use powder when you put on foundation, then you're probably oily. If you have dry patches of skin, then you're likely dry. Combination is exactly what it sounds like. It's a little bit of both. If you're an oily girl, produce a lot of oils, you likely want to choose a matte foundation, okay? Mattifying foundations, primers, skincare products are going to work to even out the skin tone without adding extra shine. Dewy, luminous, radiant foundations are going to be best for my dry skin girls, because they're going to add that radiance, that luminance, that dewiness to the skin where it is dry, okay? So aside from those things, those are my 3 major tips for finding foundation, okay? So for today's video, I'm going to use these 3 foundations, one from NARS, one from Milani, and one from Black Radiance, okay? So all of these are described as having warm undertones, okay? And then I also, for comparison, picked up this ColourPop concealer in Rich 75, and this is a neutral but cool concealer, but it is in the deep and dark range. So I'm gonna swatch these on my face, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I swatch when I am either in store or like trying them out when I'm at home. When I start swatching foundations, especially in the store, because you probably don't have all the supplies that you normally would use on your face, you can either use a finger or you can use one of those little complexion wedges that they keep in the store, and you can use that to apply a strip down your face. All this technique striping, where they take a couple different shades and they test it against the skin complexion to determine the right foundation shade. So for today's video, I am going to be using a brush to apply these, and I'm using my Black Opal foundation brush. It's just a flat brush. And I'm going to use that to apply each of these shades to my face. I do like to swatch on my face down to my neck, just because I like to also blend my foundation into my neck when I put it on, so that way I don't get that like floating face effect or like a mask effect when you put it on. So the first color I'm going to put on is my NARS foundation, and this is in New Caledonia. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to swatch this from here down to my neck. And it's very important that you let these colors dry down, because they can be deceiving. Like a lot of the times when you put on a foundation and it dries down, the color changes. You have to make sure you know how it settles into your face. So although it might look very good in the store, I, number one, don't trust the lighting in Sephora or Ulta, because girl, I be looking good up in Sephora and then I get home and I look like a ghost, or I look like my face is like floating or something, because it's a very big variation from my neck and my face. Studio lighting will make it look a little different. And also, I feel like natural lighting is the most important thing when it comes to doing makeup. You need to see what you look like in regular light, because when you take flash photography and you're looking skeletal or ghostly or casket ready, girl, that's just, it's not cute. So test these foundations out. I mean, that's what they have samples for. You take it home and you see what you think, okay? The next foundation is going to be my Milani foundation in the color Golden Toffee. Still, when it dries down to my color. Lastly, I'm going to apply my Black Radiance foundation in Cocoa Bean. And I'm going to put this here. And to me, this one goes on very well. And you almost can't see it. It almost disappears into my skin. But just wait until you see how it dries down so you can make the final determination on what you think matches. I'm going to add in this ColourPop concealer. This is, like I said, in deep dark range. But this is a cooler concealer. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by cool and how it's going to pull up on my skin. So although it might look like it matches pretty well so far, I'm going to go ahead and drag this all the way down. And once it dries down, you'll be able to see how much pink this concealer has. Okay, and I'm gonna get this time to dry down. So a few other tips and things that I can tell you when picking out a foundation is don't ever go with the first shade that you pick up. I don't believe in that. I feel like you should always try it out if you have time. This is something that you should plan to have extra time for. You also need to ask for samples. There's nothing wrong with taking it home and wearing it for a little bit. If you pick up a drugstore foundation and it doesn't work for you, return it, okay? Those things can be returned. I mean, don't go out and use the whole product and then try to take it back, obviously, but if you have something that truly doesn't work for you and you can't swatch it in store, then you go ahead and you take it right on back, okay? All right, so I've given these foundations about 5 minutes to dry down, and you can kind of see how they start changing in tone, with my Black Radiance being back here, then my Milani, then my NARS, and then that ColourPop concealer. They all dry down a little different, but aside from the concealer, I can use all of these foundation shades to match my skin. I like to swatch down to my neck because my chest and my neck are, for the most part, the same color. If you have a really dark neck, then you might need to color swatch on your chest, but because these two match fairly close for me, I can use my neck. So if you are swatching to your chest, you're just gonna have to apply your foundation to your face and then bring it down on your neck to where it matches your chest. But if you're like me and you can get away with just using your neck, I feel like the neck will suffice. The reason why I say don't trust the lights in Sephora, this filming setup is an exact reason why I say that. So from camera, like, most of these look like they don't fit me. But if you were to see me in natural lighting, the light is reflected differently on my face. And naturally, most of these, other than the concealer, really do match, okay? Most of these blend right into my skin. You can't even see them. So you also have to consider that when you buff these foundations out, they don't typically stain the skin, such as like how I have it swatched on, okay? This is literally a swatch. When it dries down, it's drying down in that specific area. And it's not evenly dispersed over the face or anything like that. So you have to consider that as a factor as well, which is why I say you should get a sample, take these home and apply them like you would normally do. Also, when you go into the store, if you're going to start swatching in the store, make sure you have a bare face, okay? Make sure you don't have any makeup on. You moisturize your skin. I wouldn't typically go in there with primer because I don't wear primer on a regular basis, but normally if I'm going there to find a foundation, I'm going to have my skin clean and moisturized. So like I was looking in the beginning of the video, that's exactly how I go in the store, okay? Ugly or not, baby, I'm going there to find my products, okay? So I feel like I've covered a majority of the things that help me find the right foundation. I feel like as long as you know your undertone, your surface tone, your skin type, and you also going with the mindset that nothing's gonna match you exactly, but something can get close enough, you'll be perfect to find your perfect foundation shade. So this will conclude the video. I thank you so much for staying tuned and listening to me ramble. I'm gonna come up next with a Valentine's Day slay for you all. So if you're interested, then stay tuned and keep on the lookout for that video. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.